Lovelies, I have some guidance for those of you who are going through a period of grief or loss, and it just doesn't seem to be getting better, or if you just keep running up against the same problems that feel so debilitating. There are some really useful practices that will help you to move the energy that you're dealing with, because when you're dealing with grief or a loss or just any kind of shock or extreme sadness, there is an energy that is caught in your body, and it's like literally caught in your muscles and your organs, and it is putting your nervous system into this constant fight or flight mode. And so you may be responding in a way where you feel drained, like you're in freeze mode. You just feel like you can't move. You just feel frozen. You might be dealing with just being very easily set off, like everything's frustrating you, everything's making you mad. It's a state of nervous system dysregulation. Or you might just be doing the thing where you're just crying, like uncontrollably crying. What nervous system response is that? There's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So I think that the crying would be a flight. Yeah, the crying's like it's a form of running away. It's a giving up. It's a feeling like a total lack of strength. You have no energy to fight, to take action. So crying is like a running away, the uncontrollable crying. So you have this energy that's stuck in your body, and you have to find a way to get it out of there. The number one thing that you absolutely have to do if you're dealing with grief or a loss is to feel your feelings. You have to do that, because it is a lot of energy. If you don't feel your feelings, you will continue to keep your nervous system in a dysregulated mode. And even if you're able to get that under control somehow through medication or whatever else, it will stay in your body, and it will eventually make you sick. It can make you hold on to extra weight, or it could make you develop cancer. Like, it will literally make you sick if you don't get it out of your body. So number one thing, feel your feelings. If you are watching a movie and it makes you start to cry, push pause, go in the bathroom, cry as hard as you possibly can. And so some of us may let ourselves cry, but you gotta make a sport out of it. You gotta really, 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 really let yourself cry. Cry even more than it makes sense to cry. It's like it's time to clean, and you're gonna deep clean. You're gonna take it the extra mile and really, really deep clean that energy from your system by just crying. So something that I've done is I let myself scream when I cry. I let myself make the ugliest faces I could possibly make. Just let that energy move. And the more you let yourself do it, the more you will literally feel it leaving your body. I would get so much of the energy moving out of my body, it made me feel like I was going to throw up. And so I would just very dramatically act like I was throwing up over the toilet. I really made an art out of this, you can tell. But that's what it took, that's what it took to move the energy that was stuck in my body after I lost my husband. And I knew what I was doing. I knew about energy work at that time, and I knew that it was the only way to get it moving. Another thing that I would do a lot is just dance. If you like to dance, I would just turn up the music really loud and dance. There's a lot of energy that gets stuck in your pelvic area. And so dancing can really help to just shake it loose and get it out of there. That could be a more joyful way to move the energy. Doing yoga is an excellent way to move the energy, because that energy is literally stuck in your muscles. It stretches the muscles, it creates space, And as you breathe, you can release the energy, release the grief, release the sadness as you're breathing during yoga. Breath work is an incredible way to move emotional energy. Just deep breathing in and out. There's lots of breathwork instruction that you can find online, so much, and it's just becoming more and more. There's one breathwork, like a guided breathwork session that I found a year or two ago, and I will link that below this video, because at the time when I was looking for it, it was the only thing I found of its kind that was free online. So breathing can be an excellent way to move emotional energy. So you got to feel the energy and you got to move it. So if you're like me, that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg, you know, because it helps a lot, but for me, it didn't make it go away. Something that a lot of people do that can help to make you more functional, but doesn't really help in the long run, is to distract yourself. Okay. So distracting yourself can help you get through the day. You know, it might even help you get through the week. It's not a long-term solution. It's more of a coping thing to get through small periods of time and be functional. But what I did without realizing that I was doing it is I distracted myself with dating after a period of time. Dating and unconsciously trying to replace my husband. And I mean, someone could have accused me of that at the time. I wouldn't have seen it, you know, I wouldn't have seen it at all. I would just be like, no, I'm the marrying type. I want a partner. Why wouldn't I want a partner? You know, but I didn't realize that, like, if things didn't work out with that partner, like, there's going to be some hell to pay in life. You know, I knew enough not to make any man's life a living hell for the relationship not working out. But that's how it worked for me. I was very, very much pouring a lot of energy into dating and being on the dating apps, trying to distract myself from the feelings of grief by replacing my husband. And then when it didn't work, it was like a really, really big deal. So some of the more destructive ways that people do that is, you know, drinking, doing drugs, overeating. You might be, you know, just spending your whole life in this functional freeze mode where you are like scrolling constantly watching TV, constantly consuming content, attracted to content that makes you feel, you know, like things that are like very violent or really scary or really, really sad. You know, like you can get addicted to that content that makes you feel, because it's like a substitute for feeling what you actually need to feel. So be aware of that. You can distract yourself short term, but doing it long term is going to end up draining your life energy and just making your life not quite as wonderful as it could be. And oh, this is important. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, this is a big one that I think a lot of people don't know about. If you're dealing with a grief or a loss and the feelings just won't go away, something you might need to look at is, what is it about what you're feeling that feels really familiar? Like familiar as in familial, as in something that is a core wound. Because when we have a loss, we have lost something that was making us happy, or we thought might make us happy. You know, I have friends who are dealing with the loss of the chance to have children. And they really believed that having children was going to make them very happy, and the chance of that happiness is gone. And so it feels like a loss. But the importance of that thing being there to make you happy is the thing that you need to look at. And that's really what was going on when I was trying to distract myself with dating. Is I was not only trying to replace my husband, but I was trying to cover up this feeling that had always been there. It was a feeling that I had had since childhood. And having my husband for 23 years just kept me from feeling it, honestly. It kept me from feeling that loneliness and despair that I had carried with me my whole life until I met him. So when you're feeling this grief, you may attribute it to this loss, but look a little deeper, see what's underneath it. See if there's something there that feels like something that you felt before this loss ever happened. When have you felt like that before? And when did you feel like that before that? And when did you feel like that before that? Just keep going back in time until you can find the oldest memory of feeling like that. And that's what needs to be healed. That's the energy that needs to be moved. That is what you need to cry over. That's what you need to talk to your nervous system about. So one last tool, it's a shadow work tool, something that I found to be really, really helpful in the process of healing that core wound, that fear of abandonment, that feeling of loneliness and despair that I had had since I was little. As I would have talks with the different parts of myself that were still active in my system and basically like trying to drive the bus of my life. So I would be faced with the feeling of a relationship not working out, for example, being disappointed by a man. I would let myself feel what was there. And then I would set up 2 chairs, or sometimes it was the edge of the bed across from a chair or the edge of the tub across from a chair. But I set up 2 places where I could sit, and then I could get up and turn around and face the place where I was originally sitting. And I would go back and forth and have a conversation with myself. So I'd start the conversation. I would try to get in the mindset of my highest self. The unconditionally loving mother inside of me, the encouraging coach inside of me. And I would just say like, okay, we're having this problem. I see that you're continuing to have this sadness. What's going on there? What is it that you're actually feeling? And then when I felt like I was ready, I would get up, turn around, sit in the other chair, and see what comes up. And something's gonna come up. The stuff that's come up for me doing that has blown my mind. I cannot believe how much darkness and sadness I had secretly hidden down inside of my body, and it needed light shining on it. It needed the light of truth. It needed to be heard. It needed to be seen. And that's literally all it could take to heal it. I mean, just having that aha moment, like, oh my gosh, no wonder I've been such a mess. You know, things will come up that you haven't thought of in decades. It's really, really powerful. That is hands down the most powerful shadow work I have ever done. That conversation where I sit in one place, ask myself a question, ask a part of myself. So it's like you have to see yourself as these multidimensional parts, you know, because we're such multidimensional beings. And inside of you, inside of your psyche, inside of your mind, there's the teenager version of you, there's the toddler version of you, there's the 7-year-old version of you, there's the version of you whose parents got divorced, there's the version of you that got kicked off the team, or, you know, whatever. Like, there are all these different versions of you still existing inside of you. And if you are not aware, if you don't bring the light of awareness to them, then they will continue to make your decisions for you, try to drive the bus of your life, And you'll just be like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? There's a part of you that needs to be seen and heard. I was able to bring so much light to so much darkness in that way, and therefore heal so much grief and so much trauma. And I have to be so thankful for the whole process of losing my husband and how much I learned through that, and what a better person I am for myself and for other people now that I've been through something like that. And I have to be so thankful. I am so thankful that of all of the men that I developed feelings for, that none of them were the kind of man that was going to show up for me. And it was never going to work. It was never going to work with any of them. And if it had, if any of them had been willing to show up for me, be a good partner, do, just the bare minimum of what you would expect a partner to do, if any of them would have done that for me, then I could still be with them today. And all of this stuff that has been running my life and messing me up would still be active, and I would just have another relationship, using that as a distraction to keep me from feeling these things that have been stuffed down. And so I just really have to be so grateful. But I was following my heart always, and my highest self knew what she was doing with each person that I chose, and each person that I struggled and wished they would love me. They were all perfect, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for them at their highest selves being willing to, play out this drama with me so I could heal. And hopefully they healed a little bit too. But if you're conscious of it, you can heal a whole lot more. So that was a long one. I hope that helps. Sending you love.